Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Citizen Talk, where we talk about everything Star Citizen, and I don't know what else is in between. I was going to say everything in between, but my name's Blue Knights. I am here with Mr. Evil Tactics. He'll give an introduction in just a second. I am Mr. B Knight on Twitch as well as here in Star Citizen. I've been playing the game since February. I think I determined that a little while ago, and I'm still learning a lot about the game. Mr. Tactics over here has a lot more experience than I do, but anyway, Evil, why don't you introduce yourself and we'll get started.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Evil Tactics. As Blue to that way just said, also a content creator. You can find me on Twitch under The Evil Tactics. You got to put the in front of it because Twitch reasons. I have been a backer for Star Citizen for the last 10 plus years. All that fun stuff. So yeah, I've been playing on and off for about the last, whenever they went to live, which I think was 2.0 more or less. But yeah, tonight we got a good one for you guys. We're going to discuss a bunch of different topics, ranging from ship of the week, a couple main topics, which we're going to fly through, the different types of organizations, the different types of gameplay loops, all that, which tie into orgs, but yeah, all that fun stuff. And yeah, you can catch me over on Twitch when I am live, which hopefully will start being more active on there.
Yeah, you need to jump on here more often.
Yeah, I've been by the time I get home from work lately, I've just been wanting to crash out. So, what about Kick? I used to stream on Kick. I came back over to Twitch because this is where I had a larger following. I'm debating doing both Kick and Twitch again, but right now, this is where I'm at, and this is where I will remain to be for the time being.
I will eventually be jumping to YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Eventually. Just saying.
Okay. I'm on YouTube as well. I'm on YouTube as well, where I have posted some pretty cool videos recently, one of which was Mr. Blue's beautiful Wakela Polaris doing some aerial shots, which we're going to have to record some more of that because that was fun.
We do, yes.
I have an idea.
Yeah, I like ideas.
Org Night. We do Arena Commander. And we get a bunch of Idrises and Polarises, or Polari and Idri, whatever, depending on which way you want to talk about it, together for some aerial combat footage, both space and planet side.
Ooh.
Yes. I think we can have some fun with that.
Well, Star Citizen is always fun, so no matter what you do in Star Citizen, it's going to be fun.
True. Bugs and all, the game is fun.
Yes.
Technically, in development, tech demo / game, when it finally gets to game release.
Yeah.
We're unpaid testers, more or less.
Pretty much. So, this week's newbie info, I think all of our main topics are essentially for newbies, so we'll probably skip that part. Before we hopped on stream, I said I had a question for you that I was going to ask once we jump on screen. The
now
question I have, if you have an answer, that's awesome. If you don't have an answer, then that's okay, because a lot of what Star Citizen has to offer is kind of up in the air, and a lot of people just discover things as it goes. So the question I have is kind of a multi-part question.
Okay.
The main question I have is, what does it mean for a ship to be for the developers to kit out a ship?
Okay. I'm going to attempt to answer that because you didn't leave me much to think on here. Okay. For the developers to kit out a ship for a certain role, I assume is what you're saying.
So, I know I said it was a multi-part question because I wanted to see what you'd say to that first part. So, have you ever heard of a ship being kit out or being kitted with a particular manufacturer's stuff? I suppose
Um,
whatever it's being used for.
so actually that kind of falls into the lore a little bit. Um, so obviously different manufacturers in the games. For instance, you have a lot of the military ships are Robert Space Industries.
Mhm.
And that falls into because of the lore of Star Citizen and Squadron 42. RSI became the largest developer manufacturer of naval craft in Star Citizen's lore. But
Because of the quantum drive development and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
yeah, but you also have Anvil and Aegis, obviously.
Mhm.
Certain ones go all the way back to the Mercer, the Mercer Wars, more or less. I don't remember the exact name for it, but it goes back into the lore. So I do know that. So, for instance, Origin Jump Works. They mainly do all the racing ships, right? And that is
Yeah.
because they are actually not really a ship manufacturer, but they are an engine manufacturer. So most of the ships in Star Citizen use Origin Jump Works engines,
That makes sense.
except for Drake. Drake, I believe, makes their own engines and whatnot in house. Um, I have not noticed realistically that one. I have a fussy baby next to me who's just got done eating and now she's not happy. I haven't really noticed anything from a specific manufacturer, so like an RSI ship only being given certain weapons. I do know the most recent iterations that they're having are like the Polaris and the Idris. They have specific bespoke turrets and whatnot on them. But for the
Okay.
realistically, not 100% has there been a specific ship with a dedicated weapon loadout or components.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's a good question because I do wish they'd touch on that a little bit.
So you you're probably wondering why I asked that question. Have you seen the report recently? The what I don't know if it's a monthly or weekly report.
I didn't really get to read this month's week in review or the monthly report.
Okay.
Is that because they're talking about the? Now I have to go find it.
I'll give you, if you haven't read it, that's okay. I'll give you a little tidbit because it literally is just a little mention of something that we are all really waiting for. In the report that came out, I think it's the monthly report, some explanation as to where we're at with the Ironclad was divulged, and it wasn't much, but in a nutshell, the Ironclad was essentially paused so that the dev team could help out with all the Invictus ships and everything. Which, I mean, I imagine all their attention was on Invictus when Invictus rolled around. But production and development of the Ironclad has continued, and they are currently working on kitting each room with Drake, whatever they're putting in there.
Yeah.
So one of the speculations on YouTube, so one of the YouTubers that I ran into this one. I just came across it and happened to see the Ironclad was back. Came out earlier today saying that they're assuming that Ironclad is in gray box and getting close to being finished. So we might see it within the next few months. So just wanted to drop that out there.
Again, okay. Well, what do we have in the next few months? We have IAE, which is coming up in November, I want to say. November, December is IAE, if I remember correctly. We have CitizenCon, which is going to be digital, which I have a feeling they are going to either... Now, like I said, it'd be crazy if they released the Ironclad already, like at CitizenCon, because that would probably be one of the quickest turnarounds I've ever seen on them putting a ship out. Now, mind you, they have put out a lot of ships recently that they didn't even talk about. Like, they announced the silhouettes last CitizenCon, right? We know we got a bunch of those variants. One of those was the Fortune. The other one was the MTC. You know, now mind you, the Fortune already existed in a sense. It's the Prospector. All they did was kind of make it, I want to say, a little longer in a sense, because you got a little more interior room and whatnot, and you actually have a elevator door that comes down, and it's got some internal cargo space too. But those are small ships. The Ironclad is huge.
Massive. It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. Talking 1,500 SCUs of storage space, which there is a website out there that actually lists the 2 ways that they could lay out those 1,500 SCUs. And by the way, that's a lot of 32 SCU boxes. That based on the way that's going to be able to be loaded out, like, holy crap. We're going to be busy.
Oh, yeah.
But they actually mentioned something else in that I was just reading.
Ooh.
The RSI Apollo, Medevac, and Triage passed their gray box review, with a focus on ensuring each medbed module tier is distinct without being disruptively different to use. The RSI Perseus continued through gray box, ready for its gate review earlier this month, because they said that's coming during IAE. Which, if the Apollo and the Apollo Triage have passed their gate review, that means they're out of gray box. Are we going to get a few more RSI ships come IAE? I think so. Now, CIG, you're going to give us these medical ships, give us medical gameplay. Come on. Yep. I mean, I guess technically it's already in there with medical beacons and, you know, you can revive and whatnot, but give us some more in-depth stuff. Like, you got a regen crisis going on. Maybe the regen pods on the ships aren't affected like the regen stations on planet side and station side. Just a thought. But, you know, Ironclad. I can't wait to fly that. I can't wait to fly that.
I just want to fill it up and make money.
Dude, we're going to be running dual Ironclads. We need to get Senior Optics back on.
We do.
Because that man,
we really do.
He missed all of Invictus. That poor man. Mind you, he's bringing in buku bucks, but damn it, man. We have things to do.
We do. We really do.
Yeah,
speaking of things to do.
They mentioned a bunch of different... They're putting some teasers out there too, because they mentioned that the Europe team worked on 4 unannounced ships. Now, we know they have a total of 200 and something ships in game that have been announced in the past, which means, and I know we only have 170 of them in game, well, that are created. We're just waiting on the other 25, 50 or so that we're still, fingers crossed on. But yeah, it's gonna be. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. I am too. Although I think they should work on the ships that they already have queued and stop working on stuff that's unannounced. Just do what's announced.
Can they just retake the reclaimer back and give me something else?
Yeah.
Like, give me a medium salvage ship. Seriously. If the big one's so broken, give me an Argo Mole with 3 salvage heads and, I don't know, 240 SCUs of total SCM space with the ability. Actually, you know what? Make it the raft to where all the SCM boxes are printed out and put onto that cargo grid.
Yeah, that would actually make sense.
Yeah. Like, give me the raft with salvage possibilities. It would work out so
That would actually make sense.
I mean, they already have the automatic system. They used it for the Vulture. I mean, not Vulture, Fortune. Uh-oh, what you bringing up?
Oh, I'm just getting ready for the ship of the week and bringing up my Andromeda.
Ooh. Yeah, so I'm excited. So while he's doing that, we'll lead into a little bit of 4.2 coming out. Dude, 4.2 looks exciting.
It does. It really does.
Like, I'm really debating where to put my spawn. Pyro's going to be a hot zone. But they also did state when they first initially were releasing this phase that this sandbox activity is going to be in Stanton as well. So,
how?
When they're gonna do that, I do not know. It's a blue ship.
It is.
So, yeah, I'm excited for 4.2. I can't wait. Ow, I just stabbed myself.
Don't do that. It hurts.
Yeah, especially when you got a file.
Yeah.
Especially when you're poking around a file that's been sharpened at a machine shop.
Sheesh.
Yes, today we are doing an overview of the Constellation series, folks. There are 4 variants of the Constellation. There's the Andromeda, the Taurus, the Aquila, and the Phoenix. What Knight has over here is the Constellation Andromeda, right? Or is that the Taurus?
That is the Andromeda.
That's the gunboat, which is a very fun ship.
It's personally my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, even though you get half the cargo space of the Taurus, she is definitely a ship to not screw around with. But let me see if I can get that on the other screen. Actually, no, that's going to mess it up. All right, we're going to be stuck to this one. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Andromeda?
Well, out of the Constellation series, it's my favorite ship. Partly because it's the gunship, and well, I really, really wish that they would work out the snub fighter back here, because it came back in the last patch and it just disappeared. And my very, very first quantum jump after the patch, it just poof, gone. So no idea where that went. But the layout for all the Constellation ships is going to be pretty much the exact same. So if you're looking at buying the ship in game, or whether you're doing the pledge store, you kind of have to ask yourself what you're going to use it for. The Taurus and the Andromeda are very, very close into what they can be used for. If you're going out and getting more cargo, whether it's for VHRTs or ERTs, or you're just, I'm trying to think of what else you could use it for.
Pretty much, it's a multi-role ship.
Yeah, you can use the Taurus if you're looking for more cargo, and then you don't mind missing out on a second set of missiles that to me doesn't really play a huge factor in. I mean, if I'm going to go out and do something, say it's the Foxwell missions, for example, I'm going to be taking the Andromeda because I want as much firepower as I possibly can. And if I need like an 8 SCU crate in the back to hold ace helmets or script or whatever it is that I need to hold on to, I can put it back here. And I don't need a huge amount of space. You could also fit very snugly an Ursa medevac or something back here too. Same thing with the Taurus. Now, if I'm going out to do solo VHRTs or ERTs, I'm going to take the Taurus because even though I'm missing out on the storage space, I still have the same 4 size 5 guns mounted on this ship as I do on the Taurus, and vice versa, whatever. So you're not really missing out on the firepower, just the missiles, and then you can haul back more cargo. This ship is a very, very good solo multi-role ship. I originally didn't like the design, and I know a lot of people are kind of turned off by how the crossbar is laid off in the front windshield, which I think they seriously need to take a book out of the Apollo, where it's got a curved front windshield that doesn't have a crossbar, or like even the Polaris, for example. The Polaris doesn't have a crossbar, and it's got an even bigger window up front. So this crossbar here really doesn't make sense. And
the Phoenix doesn't have it either.
Yeah, the Phoenix doesn't? I didn't.
No, I think it's either the Phoenix or the Aquila doesn't have it. I think it's the Phoenix that doesn't have
the Aquila has a rounded cabin, and then the windshield kind of has an opening in the front so you can see through it, which I don't really like either because it gives you a bunch of blind spots as a pilot.
That's one thing that actually drives me nuts about the Constellation series is the MFDs for the co-pilot, and so there's 3 front seats, which really doesn't make sense because this is a max crew of 4. So if you have 3, you got the pilot seat, you got the co-pilot seat, and then you have an engineer seat.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have 2 gun turrets on the Andromeda, which doesn't make much sense. So why have 3 seats up front when you're going to have at least 2 of those seats not full? So a max crew of 4, and you need to rework that to a max crew of 5. But yeah, so I guess I got it up right now, so I'll go through some of the differences here that people can see on the screen while Blue kind of gives you a tour. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. You've got the pilot seat in the center, you got the co-pilot to the right, and then you have like the engineer seat. What I hate about that is when you get in either one of those left or right seats, you have a screen that comes down in front of you, and it blocks your view. Right?
Horrible. I didn't even realize that. I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah, it literally is an MFD that comes up and shows you shields and whatnot. So yeah, the person on the left can be rotating shields, and the person on the right can be rotating, power, on the ship. That way the pilot doesn't have to do it. But it's still like those MFDs don't need to be there. You can put them off to the side and not block the view for the 2 other, I'm going to call them co-pilot seats. But the difference is in the ships is actually kind of interesting because now here's the difference. If you're a new player, the Constellation series is a good series to get, whether it's the Taurus for $200, the Andromeda for $240, the Aquila, which is more Explorer, so not really, Expedition, not really, that doesn't really have a use at the moment. So, but as a new player, let's say you buy, the $200 Taurus, you get just as many guns, minus the lower turret, and you lose some missiles. But for $200, you can then upgrade to the Andromeda for $40, or to the Aquila for an additional $315, or whatever the price difference would be, if you want to do Expedition when it finally comes out. But for weapons, well, we'll do weapons last. But for size, all three ships are identical: 61 meters in length, 26 meter beam, 14 meter height, large size hangars. The masses are drastically different. The Aquila is 449,000 versus the Taurus is 427,000 versus the Andromeda is 430,000. They all have the same SCM speed. They all have the same afterburner speed, same minimum crew, same maximum crew. What is interesting? Yep, and the same. The Taurus is 174 SCU versus the other two having 96 SCUs. But they're all the same size ship. So.
Yeah. And then the Phoenix is the luxury liner. But I was going to say, doesn't the Aquila have an advanced radar system that could, for exploration? I haven't looked into it too much, but I thought maybe the Aquila's use could also be like almost like a, I just had the name of the ship in my head. The radar plane that goes up and provides radar services to like combat aircraft.
Talking about real life?
Yeah, real life. Sorry.
Shit, I just lost it too. It starts with an L. Starts with an L.
I'll have to look it up.
Yes, but yeah, it does have advanced sensors, and it comes with an onboard Ursa, supposedly. Now, whether you actually get the Ursa in the game, I don't know. But the differences in these is honestly, so for the Aquila, you lose the lower turret for a scanner. On the Taurus, you lose the lower one for a tractor beam. And obviously you get size 5 missiles with the Aquila and only size 2s with the Taurus, and the of course you get size 1s and 2s with the Andromeda, hence why she's a gunboat. They need to label her a missile boat because she gets to hold, what was that, about 60 something missiles?
52. It's 20, 24, and 28.
Yeah, so 52 missiles versus, and if you do all size 2s or size 1s, there can be a lot of rattlers.
Yeah, they can. The ship that I was thinking of was the E2 Hawkeye.
Okay. That's Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an Air Force one. I just can't remember the name of it.
Here's the E3 Sentry.
AWAC. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of AWAC.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the name for the life of me, but yeah, it's an AWAC. There is a version of that in the game. I believe it's the... Well, son of a bitch, you're gonna make me a liar. Well, hold on. But all variants of the Constellation series also come with 4 size 5 repeaters on them. Very good guns, very hard hitting. You can swap them out with attrition 5s, which are pretty gnarly. Now you got to make me look for it because now I don't know.
Right now here I've got this one outfitted with the Galderines, and so I left the gun stock, but I've upgraded the missiles. I've got arrows and rattlers on this thing.
So the regular Terrapin has a sensor dish on its top. Yeah, that's the one we're thinking of, more or less, is the regular Terrapin.
Does the Hornet have a variant that has a dish?
The Ghost. Actually, not for exploration. The Anvil Hornet. And it's the Hornet Mark II. This has got a variant. Yeah, the Tracker. That's this one. Got a massive dish on its roof, or on its back.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since the update to the capacitors, the shot count for the stock size 5 guns is 131 rounds per gun if you give it full beans.
Which is still insane.
So, yeah. I've been taking this thing out for the Foxwell missions lately. I'm trying to get those Ace Pilot helmets. Although I found that I literally have to set one of my weapon configurations down to one gun when I'm going up against the Ace Pilot. Otherwise, it'll just obliterate it, and I won't be able to, loot it.
He's got to learn how to trigger finger discipline.
Well, I was doing that even with when I had all 4 guns going, and I was just, as soon as the ship got red, I would start one tapping it, and all 4 guns would hit it at the same time, and poof, there it went.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's something I've been noticing with the newest update. All right. So for newbie info, we'll kind of go back onto this. This is going to tie into our main topic tonight is, as a new player, this is a question I see constantly on Reddit, on Facebook groups, on Spectrum, and just all around the internet. How do I join an org, and what types of org are there, and which one is a right fit for me? That's going to go depending on your play style. If you are into bounty hunting and a little bit of PvE and possibly PvP, you can join a bounty hunting org. Now, keep in mind, most orgs do not stick to one play style. They venture out into multiple things.
There are some out there that stay strict, but
yeah,
most, I would say, jump around.
Like Evil Org. No affiliation. Gotta say it. No, just because my name is Evil does not mean I'm part of Evil Org. Or am I? So the screen we have on here too is actually something that kind of goes through is, so for new people who are on the website for the first time, or they've been on it and they haven't really looked around, where do you find orgs? Well, there's multiple places you can go. You can go to the community tab, and you can come down to organizations, and that will bring you over to the citizens feed, where all organizations, you can create one, you can find one, and you can list one. And there's different orgs on here. So for instance, let's take a look. Speaking of Evil Org, right? They are a syndicate archetype. Main language, English. Commitment, hardcore. What does commitment mean? Knight, take it away.
What does commitment mean? In the gaming context, it's just, if they're hardcore, you have to be on very consistently. You have to stick with the rules of the organization. If you're more of a casual player that, wants to go do their own thing after Orgnite gets kind of boring, it's not going to be the organization for you if they're hardcore, because they will expect you to do exactly what the org is expected to do. And what is Evil Org set up Are they piracy? What are they?
Evil Org, and we'll click on it and we'll just find out together. Evil Org, Syndicate Hardcore Roleplay. For those
Oh
of
yeah,
you
there's
wondering,
another. That's a whole nother thing. So, um,
they
not only do they
are
have the commitment, they
smuggling
also
and piracy.
okay. That's what I thought. Not only do you have the commitment level, so you have to be there like all the time and make sure your attendance to their org nights or events or whatever they do, their schedule, you have to be there. There's also an element of role play or casual, or I think there's another thing on there you can select. And if it's role play, it gets a little bit more into the you are acting out some of what you do. So you'll have call signs, you'll have languages that you have to speak. I'm not saying like a whole new foreign language, just like if you're a pilot, say in the real world, you have to be able to speak the language of a pilot, meaning you have to understand what the phonetics are for like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, all those. You have to understand the acronyms. You really, really have to dive into it and be committed to it. So
Yeah.
uh,
And that's one of the things, when it comes to role playing is if you've never role played before, you're going to be in for a hell of a learning experience because some of these role play groups are pretty damn serious. If you fall out of character and whatnot, people are going to get mad, especially if someone is making a YouTube video or live streaming and they're recording. They're going to get mad. But,
yep.
So we can just, let me go back. Let me see if I can find our org.
While you're searching for that, did we cover all different selections? You got bounty hunting, engineering. That's going to be something that's more so in the future. So I could see as more patches come through, more organizations coming through, that'll hey, is your ship out of order? Did you break down somewhere? We'll bring you parts.
Yeah.
Exploration, freelancing, doing a mix of a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah, so on the screen right here, we have the commitment level, the role play, yes or no, size of the org, small, medium, large, the archetypes, and then obviously Blue is going through the activities right now, which he stopped on freelancing.
Yep.
Next one is infiltration, medical, piracy, resources, scouting, security, smuggling, social, trading, and transport. So again, based off your play style, what are you looking to do? Are you looking to start and join an org that is simple, easygoing? You're probably gonna be looking for a smaller org, small to medium. And then I would go casual. But yeah, so you want to start out easy. You want to do some mining. You want to do some transporting. Cool. Find an org like that. Now, an org like Machina, our org, we're right here. Look at us. Obviously, they need to work on the information page. They have not done so yet.
I'll have to get on Chrono's butt about that.
We are freelancing and resources, which this is kind of changed to, should say, murder hobo / freelancing.
I don't know if we can qualify us as murder hobos. Murder hobos are pirates. They'll sit out at orbital markers and pick off people and pirate you. When we go do org nights and we've got air defense up in the air and it's shoot on sight, ask questions later, we're doing a task and we're making sure nobody else interferes with it. Yeah, murder hobos, they go out looking to
and if you do manage to hold down an OM marker, we're going to come and blow you out of the sky because that's a dick move.
Yes. Don't do that.
Especially when it's one of the main ones to get to a station. Because something a newer player may not know, if you take off from the planet and you're trying to go to the station, Let's say you go out, you do some mining, and blah 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 blah, and some time's gone by. You go back to try and go back to that station. You might jump to a completely different OM marker because that station has literally orbited the planet. It spins with the planet. So when you might want to land on Ryerson from Seraphim, you might have to go around the planet just to get to Ryerson. It's never on the same side. It's weird.
Is it?
Yep.
I thought the stations were orbit locked.
No, I don't think they are orbit locked.
I think so. I think Hurston, Lorville, and Everest, I think that's orbit locked. Seraphim, I have noticed that I've actually had to jump like to different points because I think because Orison is on Crusader, which is a gas planet, it rotates. It actually orbits the planet within the gas cloud, so it's never in the same spot.
Yeah.
Well, in comparison to one another. Port Tressler and New Babbage are usually pretty close to one another. But I do know, like, if you're traveling from any one of the planet's moons, you will have to change how you get there because there's not always a direct line of sight from Yella to Seraphim, and you'll have to go around some of the orbital markers. So I know that's true.
But that's been a little different. But okay, so you want to join an org, right? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna go to the org page, and somewhere on here, you go down to members, and then sometimes you'll see a join. There's me. Knight is somewhere around there, and there's Knight.
Yeah.
Which we are affiliates because we are in our own org. So we come up as affiliates. So this is where you can see all the members and those that don't mind. You might see, I don't think we have any redacted members. No, we don't, actually. Sometimes you'll see the member name being redacted. That's because they don't want you knowing that they're in that org and whatnot. So, like, for instance, I'm going to give myself away. I am affiliated with some of these orgs. But this is affiliate only. So, like, for instance, if you go to, like, Test Squadron, I don't think... Yeah, see, here's a person right here. Redacted. They don't want you knowing their name. And you'll see a bunch of that and whatnot. But it's not hard to get in an org. Knight kind of got dragged into mine and Optics's, and then we got dragged into Machina and so on and so forth. So it's just, you got to be looking, and sometimes someone will just go, hey, join my org. Be careful. Not all orgs are the same. You might get into one that is a little, if you're a younger player, and what I mean by younger is age-wise, some of these orgs might be a little too mature for you. So keep things like that in mind. Yeah, I can't think of anything else when it comes to that.
I mean, that pretty much covers it. But the next thing I have on what's the purpose of joining an org? Like, there's people that will, they'll jump on the game and they'll sit there and go, oh, this game's fun. I can do all this stuff on my own. And then people are approaching them. Hey, you should join the org. You should do this. You should do that. Why would somebody want to join an org? And part of that is one, playing the game with a group of people that doing like-minded things in the game. So if you like mining and you keep on running into these 212 SCU Quantanium rocks that you can't crack because you're solo in a mole and it takes 3 people to run that thing fully, and you still don't have enough friends that play the game, that's part of what orgs come into play for. Is, you know, you might not be on as an org all the time, but you're going to have members of that that group that are going to be on from time to time that you can reach out to and go, hey, I've got this really big rock that I'm mining. Can anybody come help me crack it? And you have a direct line to people that will help you out instead of, you know, going into global chat and trying to find a complete stranger that's not gonna, you know, shoot you after you mine everything or whatever you're doing. There's also other missions. Takes these Foxwell missions, for example. There's the number 7, number 8. No, that's not Foxwell. It's something else. But the orange and red tier level missions where things can get hairy pretty quickly, and you want to take a bigger ship, but you need gunners. Like this one, for example. You need to fully crew this thing. You got 2 top gunners, 2 side gunners. You could do a missile gunner in the back, and then another gunner. Well, there's 2 gunners to the back, but those are remote. So those are in the cockpit, and then you have a torpedo gunner and a chin gunner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people to fully man this thing to make it effective.
That's not including someone watching the brig. If you don't, you know, if you're doing that, someone on the tractor beam down in the cargo bay, you know, there's a lot of different positions on ships that are the size of the Polaris, which is what Knight is showing right now.
Oh, yeah.
And when it comes to subcapitals and capital size ships, you're going to need a lot of people. The Idris, for example, perfect example. You got 12 guns. You need 12 people just for the guns. That's not including the pilot and the co-pilot. And then the captain's got his own chair. And then you got engineering stations. You got a guy down opening the hangar doors, launching fighters. So you got your pit boss. I mean, you've got a lot of stuff that you got to have room for when it comes to these ships. And you got to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're a new player and you went and you put some serious cash down on a credit card and you want to run an Idris, you're not going to be able to do that very well solo. Now, does that mean an Idris can't be your home ship? You know, you want to stay out. You don't want to go back to stations that often. You want to kind of live on your ship. No, you can do that. You can have, because you've got med bays, you've got a mess hall, which you could, you know, throw a bunch of trash in there and make it look lived in. And you've got a hangar for ground vehicles, ships, so you can keep for instance, a Vulture. You can keep a Prospector in there. There's a lot of things you can do with these capital ships, even the Polaris. Some ships actually fit in the lower hangar or in the cargo bay. It's not going to be easy to get it in and out. Not like, you know, you could fit 2 ships in there easily, but you can keep a MTC or something down or Ursa down in the lower section if you want to run bunkers.
I probably wouldn't use a Polaris for bunker running, but
no. But what are some of the benefits of joining an org? Friends, people to play with. Some orgs, if you go to their org night, will have payouts. So let's say you're doing what me and Knight tend to do on our org nights. We run air cover. Well, what do we do for air cover? We hop in a fighter or a Polaris or something that can help defend our ground team and our capital ships against incoming fighters and other capital ships. We'll get paid out for participating in org night. So you take a couple hours out of your day. Typically, most orgs do stuff on like a Friday night, Saturday night, or a Sunday night, and give a couple hours of your day up. You know, go run some mining missions, go run Hathor, go run hunt the Polaris, things like that. And guess what? At the end of the day, you might make a couple $100,000, if not more. If you're doing all ERTs and HRTs and you're taking all the cargo, you could be making a couple million in just one night.
Yeah.
So That's one benefit. Another benefit is if you're in trouble or you're out mining in your mole and another player comes and attacks you, you type into your org chat, hey, need support, this is where I'm at. If they're on the same server as you, they might come in and lend a hand. Maybe you've been stranded, your ship's been soft death, you need a pickup, call for help. Someone's gonna come and help you, and it's not going to cost you a thing. Stuff like that. So the next question is, Knight, this one will be for you. When do you know if the org is right for you?
Let me switch out so I can go back here. Sorry, I was docking my ship to put that back.
Docking ships, come on.
I was auto docking. So I'm going to touch a little bit on Machina for a second. I will say that our payout system is going to get better now that we have a few more people that are dedicated more so to making sure things run smoothly, taking attendance and things like that. One of the biggest things that I was worried about when I joined and I was, attending some of the org nights, was at the end of the night, I was spending a couple hours, helping these guys out. And I wasn't really seeing any individual benefit to me aside from some experience. There would be nights when we're doing Hathor missions and I'd be sitting there for 2 hours doing nothing, and the next 2 hours I'll be fighting for my life because all of a sudden another org shows up.
That was fun.
And then at the end of the night, it was yeah. And then at the end of the night, it's thank you very much, have a good one, and nothing happened. Now, it did bug me a little bit, but then at the same time, I also do my own things during the week. So if I want to make money, I go do it during the week, and then I help out and play with a group of guys, and we hang out, chat, talk about different things. Sorry, I'm just getting my character back to the lobby so I don't despawn. There we go. No more distractions. When I was actually comfortable with, I knew that Machina was fun, was after starting to do CZs and doing other stuff with the org members that wasn't just org night. It kind of opened my eyes to like what they do and how they help each other out and things like that. You also have to have kind of the same mindset. It's like finding a group of friends in real life. If you're sitting in the corner at a gathering and you find that the conversation topics that they're having don't align with what you have to put into it, then likely you're not going to get, you're not going to be friends with them because you're not really going to click,
Yeah.
And then there are sometimes where you just clash on certain things. We actually had, I'm not going to name names, but we had an incident last week where there was some tension because certain things played out a certain way, and it was made by there are decisions made by upper or senior members of the org, and they try to do things as fair as they possibly could. And somebody just didn't agree with it, and that contributed to some things like boiling up. And there was a breaking point where we don't, in Machina, we don't expect. How am I trying to say this? We have a lot of content creators. We have people that stream at the same time we play. We don't expect you to jump into that role play scenario where you have to focus completely on org night when you do org night. But when you do org night, you kind of have to respect everybody else's, gameplay when you're doing it. Mm-hmm. And there are some people that when they're streaming, they're having, conversations with themselves or with their chat without, engaging push to talk. So they're not talking over. Like whenever I'm streaming and we're doing org night, I have push to talk on regardless so that I'm not talking over you guys. You can't hear me say, have this entire conversation with myself that is completely out of context. Meanwhile, my buddies over here are completely dying because I'm ignoring their calls for help,
Which happens when you are a content creator. There are moments that a very important question comes up in chat and we have to answer it right then and there. That way we don't come across as the douchebag that is ignoring chat, and
yeah,
it's the
no, I totally get it.
it's the trials of being a content creator. But yeah. I mean, so to touch base on one thing you said is one of the things too is, every now and then you'll come across a org member that is not going to be respectful to the fact that you are a content creator, that you are live streaming. So in the heat of the moment, they might say something that we know as a content creator could red flag our channel and, possibly get us in some serious trouble. You got to take things like that into account when joining an org. Is how many content creators are in there? Do they have any? So then you have to realize that you do have to bite your tongue. A lot of us are very open spoken. I'm known to be extremely blunt to the point where if you ask for my opinion, you're going to get it one way or the other. And if you don't like the answer, well, tough luck. You asked for it, so you're going to get it. And yeah, sadly, we ran into that, like I said, a week ago, we had a person that was a little hurt that some things didn't go their way. And sadly, in an online game where people are working for one main goal or multiple goals, whether it's a Polaris or which I really hope they don't add the Idris to the freaking Wicklow store. Oh my God.
That'd be just, ugh.
That'd be insanity. The Polaris in the Wicklow store is bad enough. But, you're doing contested zones and you're trying to get to the executive hangars, and your org, for instance, has a bunch of key cards laying around. Cool. Now, if you take an org night, you might get a chance that, one night when you're rolling around with other guys, or they came up with a last minute org night idea, or just a org mission, not even an org night, and someone, out of the 6 people that go to the executive hangars, one of you 6 get to pick whether or not you're going to take the ship. And it's simple as that. So there's goals there's perks of being in an org, and whether it's for you.
Yeah. One of the things I have on here is what happens if you're not a right fit. Eventually, if you're not a right fit, you may just leave, or there might be a boiling point where the tension just snaps, and then you get booted out and whatnot. And it's okay if you get booted out of an org, or if you leave an org. There's more out there that you'll find the right fit for you.
Yeah.
And most of them try to be fair and welcoming, and they're chill. It's like you said, it's an online game.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't get too butthurt about it. Exactly. Yeah, so yeah,
and I mean, sadly, we're gonna. I know it's gonna happen in Machina. It's gonna happen in, whatever org we're a part of, whether it's Knight's org, my org, Machina. Is gonna come a point where we're gonna get someone in the org that is not a right fit. Now, does that mean that they're just too loud and too obnoxious? Maybe.
There's volume dials for those.
Yeah. Are they too toxic? Are they constantly going in general chat and in game and trying to stir stuff up? Possibly.
They trash talking in global.
Yeah. I've run, good Lord, so many clans. Whether it's from World of Warships to Call of Duty to I just turned on my AI tracking. I've run so many different clans, orgs, whatever you want to call them, and yeah, we've all got growing pains. We all got headaches. We all got members that sometimes we just wish weren't in the damn org because they're too noisy. They're annoying. Maybe maybe they have that voice that I worked with a guy that just irritates you. You don't know why, but it's their voice just drives you up a wall.
Oh, there's actually one of those in Machina, and I have nothing against the guy. Nothing against the guy. It's not so much that his voice drives me up the wall, but his voice makes me feel like there's something stuck in my throat all the time. Not gonna lie, whenever I hear, I have to mute myself and clear my throat to feel better. It's just, I'm like, how are you breathing, dude?
No, I worked with this guy, and he had, I don't know what it was, but when he spoke, I got mad. Like genuinely mad. I do not know why to this day, but it was just there was just something about his voice that just pissed me off. And yeah, sadly, if you're not the right fit for an org, either you're going to come to the realization that you're not a right fit for this org, or they're going to come to the realization for you and either ask you to leave politely, or they might just kick you.
Yeah.
Because maybe they don't care about your feelings, and again, it's an online game. Most people aren't going to give a damn about someone else's feelings. They're here to have fun. They're here to de-stress after a day of work, and that's literally what it's going to be. So
yeah, a lot of us that deal with toxic stuff at work anyway when we're at work. So I think that buttons up the org conversation. So lots to do in orgs. Purpose of joining one, just to wrap up, the org part is to have a group of friends you can play with regularly, people to help you out. And then there's plenty of orgs. So if you don't fit, go find one, something that's along your game play style. Next topic was game bugs. You have a lot more experience than I do, but since February, I've experienced a lot myself. Actually, even logging in today, just to get my ship called up to go, show you the Andromeda and everything. One of the bugs that I experienced was every time I would land someplace and exit my hangar without storing my ship, it would end up destroyed. And I'd have to call it back up. And in one of those instances, I called my ship back up and it wouldn't do it, so I'd have to server hop.
Yeah.
The worst one that I've experienced, I think, was back in what was the supplier die missions? Was that 4.02? 4.02?
Yes, 4.02.
Yeah, when Copper and Corundum were a lot, and we were doing refinery. One of the worst ones. It's kind of a duo bug where you pick up a refinery order and then send it to your ship, and if you didn't store your ship in a proper manner, all of the cargo that you just spent hours mining and then waiting to refine would get locked to your ship, and the only way to get it back, or to get your ship back empty, is to destroy the ship and lose all the cargo. In the same instance, I had a $3 million, or so I should say 3 million credit shipment that I was taking from a refinery plant to a TDD to sell. I landed and all my cargo inside the ship just disappeared. Those are the two worst ones that I've experienced. So I imagine you've had worse bug experiences.
Yeah. So thank God they fixed this. And so I'd say two pretty drastic bugs that were, one, game breaking, because I literally was not able to play for 2, almost 3 days. Mainly, so the first bug was back in 3.0. You could quantum travel, and you would literally go, hey, I want to go to I'm gonna go do this bunker mission, because we had bunker missions. And so you fly out to Hurston, you go to one of the HDSF sites, right? you're quantuming in, and it looks fine. You know, you're traveling to the bunker. It looks fine, but towards the end of your quantum travel, all of a sudden your ship nosedives into the planet or through the planet. Now, at this point, it would kill you. Your ship would just blow up. Now you're respawning. There was no tier 0. There was nothing. So whatever you had on your persons was gone. You were not getting it back. Whatever cargo you had on your ship was gone because there was no death marker at this point in the game either. And that was really aggravating, and that lasted for years. I mean, that bug was just, that's why a lot of us will say that our PTSD is easing up with these most recent patches, because every now and then Knight will hear me, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. He goes, what are you doing? I'm quantuming. He goes, why would you crash? And I have to explain this to him and go, well, no, because this is how it used to be. You rolled the dice when you quantum travel to a planet, period. Like, even if you're trying to land on Area 18, New Babbage, guess what? You might die coming in. The most recent bug that was kind of, well, it was game breaking, and I was not the only one that had this issue. There were thousands of people having this issue. Was when 4.0 first came out, the prison was bugged. The elevators in the prison were, pardon my language, fucked. I could hit the bleep button, but I'm not going to. They were, and I hated this because I didn't do anything illegal. I didn't attack another player. I was literally doing a bounty mission. The mission bugged out to where the NPC went white. The NPC shot at me. I fired back in my Connie. Blew up the NPC, ended up with a crime stat 3, went to prison. Because right after that crime stat 3, I forgot you can't land on stations. So what do? I fly back to Seraphim. This was right when the Guardian QI came out. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to land. I'm going to go pay off my crime stat. Because you still can't pay it off. Yeah. Station started firing at me. Other players started coming after me. I died. I ended up in prison for 32 hours straight. My sentence was complete. I had done my mining. I had done multiple character resets, which, don't get me wrong, character reset did get me out of prison, but I still had a crime stat. Yeah, and then after that, missions were bugged because of the prison issue. So I wasn't able to see any of the cargo missions. So I was stuck to mining and salvaging to make any money. Or I'd go run cargo missions with Optics, and, you know, he would just pay me out, you know. But, yeah, that was honestly, I think, the worst one was the prison bug in 4.0. I'm so glad they got that fixed. Because there is a way to escape prison. It's a lot of parkour. And a lot of, if you fall, you're going to die. But it is nice that they put in a way to escape. But yeah, that was honestly the worst one that comes back to memory was that one. Just,
you said PTSD, and there is a bug right now that's just it brings me back to the Atlas before the Geo was released. I was doing cargo missions, and what the heck was I in? I was either in a Freelancer Max or a Starlancer Max, and I was over at Brio's Breaker, and I was dropping off. I had already stopped. That was my last stop out of like 4 or 5 stops. It was supposed to pay me out like 100 and some odd thousand. Actually, more than that, because I stacked a bunch of contracts that were going to similar locations, so I just sorted it out in my ship and dropped off what I needed to drop off, and I was using my Atlas to do all the unloading. And this was before the Atlas Geo came out, and they fixed it because they had to fix it since so much of Hathor was relying on the Geo and everything.
Yeah.
I got into my Atlas and I was instantly incapped, or not incapped. I was just dead, and it was just getting into it. It's just dead. That has since been fixed. So anytime I'm using an Atlas, I don't really get that please don't die feeling anymore. But right now, a very similar issue is with the Asgard ladder.
I knew this was
and
coming.
Every time I approach the freaking ladder, I'm like scooting close to it and making sure I hit that open button, which that open button, if I have a bone to pick with CIG, is that open button is the most stupid position when you're climbing up the ladder. It should be like maybe chest height, not like at the top of the freaking ladder. But yeah, you get on the ladder in the Asgard and you get decapitated and incapped. It's happened to me about 7 times so far. None of which I've been, I actually come to think, I don't know if I was streaming. I don't think any of them have happened when I was streaming, so I couldn't really get footage of it to create a ticket for it. But still, it's just like every time I approach that ladder, I'm like, please don't kill me, please don't kill me. Be nice to me, Asgard, please.
Oh, it's a bug that's been definitely mentioned in the issue council. I've noticed that for sure. Yeah, no, that one was funny.
Yeah.
All right, we get to segue into 4.2.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Which has
4.2.
multiple
Here we
topics
go.
and
Yeah, so 4.2 is around the corner.
it is. So, some say, and I don't know if you were online yesterday, but there's some YouTubers out saying that it might happen by the end of the week. I don't know. It's not been confirmed, but there are several YouTubers saying that it may happen by Friday. If not Friday, by the end of next week.
Some are saying that, some are saying end of the month. Depending on the YouTuber, take it with a grain of salt. There are a few YouTubers that actually have CIG friends in their back pocket, so they get a little more headway of changes that are coming.
I don't know who we were listening to, but we were listening to Chrono had somebody up the other day. It was the guy who had officially leaked the Idris coming out.
Okay, so
it's that guy who was saying that if it's not happening Friday, it's happening by the end of next week.
Which would be crazy because we're only 4 days into June. I could see next week because it'd be almost middle of the month already.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I want to say maybe the following week, closer towards the end of the month. That way they have time to make sure that this new sandbox stuff, like it's like 4.1, right? When they brought out the Hathor. We all thought that was going to be, in a similar situation, we thought that was going to be, it's going to be this week. And it turned out to be like a week and a half later because they had a lot of polishing to do with the Hathor. Now, sadly, the way they roll these updates out, I really wish CIG would just shut down the servers, load the update. That way nothing gets corrupted via a live data transfer. I think their patches would roll out and everything would be running a lot smoother if they did it this way. But then again, I'm not in that field. I'm not in, I'm not a server meshing techie or, by any means. But based on running game servers and whatnot in the past, whether it's a Valheim server or whatnot, when you update something on the server, they take the server down. Even if it's just the server name. The server comes down. Everything gets updated, and then it gets brought back up. And typically it's anywhere from 10-minute downtime to 30-minute downtime. Obviously, an update like this, it's going to be a couple gigs. It's going to take some time, but bring the
That's going
servers
to be
down.
a lot.
Oh yeah, it's going to be at least, I want to say probably at least an 8 gig update. But
It doesn't hurt to give people a break from Star Citizen too. I know I bring this up all the time. My very first stream on Star Citizen was 14 hours long, and I can imagine people are sitting in their chairs for upwards of 24, 48 hours just playing this game straight just because there's so much to do in it. But
yeah, so 4.2's got a lot of changes coming its way. And one of those changes is we're going to have to pick a home location, and there is a lot to do in Pyro that we don't really do that often. There's a lot of bounties, there's a lot of the repair missions, and you know, we can try and get our rep up with headhunters and things like that, which most of us have very good rep with Citizens for Prosperity because of the supply or die. I've always been torn because if most of the org picks Pyro, then obviously Pyro would be the best location to start. And it's not that hard to get back from Pyro to Stanton if the jump wants to actually let you out of the system.
mm-hmm.
Another bug. But, I mean, we got the dynamic weather, which is going to be cool. We got the adult Valakar, the Apex Valakar. All this stuff looks really cool from what I'm seeing on, you know, YouTube channels from 4.2, PTU, and whatnot. One of the things that was kind of brought up that people were freaking out about was the mercenary script wasn't going to be bartered, but they brought that back because I think there was a bug. They accidentally said that they were removing the mercenary script from Wicklow for favors, and I think it was just a oops, I typed the wrong thing type of move. But that's been announced that that's coming back, and I don't know, where would you want to start this go around? Because I know the last few, well, pretty much since 4.0, we've all started in Stanton.
Yeah, the conversation's been thrown around the org too, or the question has been asked, like, where's everybody setting up? And I've got mixed reviews. We got people that are wanting to set up in Pyro because you get better mining and things like that in Pyro. There's people that want to stay in Stanton because they prefer the hangars and the planet side hangars and everything like that. I personally, I don't know if I would want to set up in Pyro. I get that the org might want to because of all of the missions and tasks that are going to come up, the quests, if you will, are going to be Pyro geared.
Yeah.
But I honestly prefer the Stanton system. The jumping from planet to planet is shorter. It's not as PvP. Where in Pyro, like I was doing CZs the other day. I was soloing CZs. I was coming back from Ruin after I did the Obituary and the Ruin contested zones completely solo, and then I was heading to Checkmate to drop everything off, and there was just this big battle, this big fight between different players outside of Checkmate, and I had four out of the 7 executive hangar cards on me, and I'm like, nope, I'm not getting involved. I just spent, you know, however many hours trying to get these. I'm going to dip out. I will say the graphics and everything are absolutely gorgeous in Pyro. Bloom is an amazing planet. I wish they had some planet side hangars there, but I think, yeah.
Monox is another beautiful planet in Pyro.
I haven't been everywhere in Pyro just yet, but
neither have I.
I think what I want to do is either set up again at Orison or New Babbage.
I like New Babbage.
The reason why I want to set up either one of those I've had a home hangar when I started this game. I was at Area 18. Not a bad place. The hangars are very industrial, just like Lorville's are. I just I don't know why I didn't stay there. It just, to me, it just, I liked the vibe of Orison. So on the next patch, I went over to Orison. I like the hangars at Orison or New Babbage. The thing I don't like about Orison is I don't think the gas planet thing has anything to do with it, but it just seems like it takes forever just to get into the landing area. I mean, when you quantum in, you can end up anywhere around the city, and you end up, flying across the town. But it always seems like whenever I'm flying into Orison, I get put on the far side, and it's usually when I'm flying a big ship that can only go, 150 to 200 meters a second. So you're sitting there, you might as well hit cruise control and go make a burrito or something. But New Babbage is a contender because it has the same hangars as Orison, and when it comes to upgrading ships and everything, it's nearly a one-stop shop. The only things that you really can't get are a few specialty items, and then the attritions. If you're going to put attritions on your weapon, on your ships, you have to go to either Pyro or Lorville. Lorville's the go-to place for attrition weapons.
Yeah.
Everything else, for the most part, you can get in New Babbage, which is really, really appealing to me. And they have Microtech also has Lyria, which is good, a good planet for mining Quantanium, or a moon, I should say. And yeah, I think I prefer to the lighter vibes of Stanton as well too. It seems like the planets are a lot more, with the exception, obviously, if you go down to Bloom, you get the normal lighting effects and everything. But whenever you're flying around, say Checkmate or Ruin or Obituary, it's very dark. I also don't like having to dodge all of the debris and everything that you got to fly around in the stations over there too. A lot more hazards. I've run into a few asteroids out in Pyro, not knowing that they were there.
Yeah, I mean, Pyro's definitely more aesthetically pleasing. The stations are all messed up, and I do hope they bring some kind of land-based landing pads. I mean, some of the outposts do have landing pads, but there's no in-ground hangars.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well,
so Orison and New Babbage are actually the newest hangars because they're the two newest places in Stanton. The two most up to date. New Babbage came in, and then Port Olisar went bye-bye. And then Orison came in on Crusader. So that's why those ones are they're kind of the, in order to live at these places, you got to make money type of landing zones. I am excited for when they finally put in the ability to start making home bases, and whether it's just like a little hab with a medium to large landing pad, cool, or no landing pad and you got to land on the ground outside of your hab. Just give us those kind of spawn locations. I'd be fine with that. I don't need a hangar. Just let me be able to spawn my ship. And then obviously when I log off and whatnot, either despawn the ship, leave my hab there, and things like that. Yeah, I'm indifferent on Stanton or Pyro. I have a feeling the Pyro servers are going to play hell because everything this patch is going to be in Pyro. So Stanton might be the better option. Sorry, I'm yawning. Busy day at work.
You're good.
But yeah, I do have a feeling that Pyro's going to be a hot mess. Now, I could be wrong because everything was in Stanton this go around, including Invictus, and the servers did beautifully. Surprisingly, like I was kind of surprised. Like the first Invictus with server meshing, and the servers did beautifully. So I don't know. I guess I'll have to make that decision closer to 4.2's launch on whether or not I'm going to go pyro. I mean, it's not really going to make that much of a difference because I do want to run contested zones. I do want to run some executive hangars, try and get that. I know everyone says the F8C is broken and it's not a good ship, but then how come every time I go up against one of them sons of guns in my Hornet, do they freaking own me?
I mean, this really isn't a comparison because that's Hornet versus the Connie, but when we were doing Hathor missions, I was in my Connie and I went up against a couple of them, and I melted both of them with my Connies. But that's size 5s against a
size 3s
fighter. Yeah.
So, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll just have to play it by ear and see where it's gonna go. Maybe it'll be pyro, and then of course I'm stuck to pyro for the next, whatnot. But even if pyro is borked, I can still jump out of Stanton, set my spawn to another place if I'm going to want to change anything on my ship. Then I'll have to go back to pyro to change paints and grab new armors. But at the end of the day, that's not that's not a game breaking thing. Yeah. The two systems are vastly different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there is better mining in pyro. You got the ice, the mine, the Rysite, the Stellarian, I think it is. So I would definitely like to see some of that change.
I'm just looking at the Stanton map here, and I mean, Crusader's kind of an outlier over here on the far left. The second ring. ArcCorp is the closest one to the Pyro Gateway, so if you wanted to pick a place that's Stanton side, but you want quick access to Pyro, and it's the closest planet to that gateway. And then Microtech is way, way out there, and it sucks that the fact that one of the reasons I like Microtech, I want to say love, one of the reasons I like Microtech is because of that one-stop shop kind of appeal to it, where you can just get everything there. And it'd be nice being home planet, and you can everything of yours spawns there, and like you just said, paints and everything. I'd be able to, upgrade all your ships in one spot. That would be really, really nice.
Yeah.
I'm currently at Lorville, and the only reason I picked Lorville this go round, there's a couple of reasons. The reason I picked this was because it was kind of in the center of this triangle here, so it was easy to get to any of the planets, but it was also that upgrade for weapons, and you could buy more stuff at that buy more ships. Sorry, I'm thinking New Deal. You buy more ships at that dealership right there. That's why it shows it. But actually, this patch, I didn't buy all that many ships, and I didn't really upgrade many parts to my ship. I got some attritions, and then that was about it. That's all I did there. And then most of the time, I'm sitting right now at Everest Harbor as my staging location, and I don't go down to Lorville unless I absolutely need to. So I'm thinking maybe Orison or Microtech, even though Microtech is way, way over there. It's like the furthest planet from the Pyro Gateway.
Yeah, I've never checked to see where ship stores, what the stations rent or sell for ships in Pyro. I've never checked it, so I don't know what they offer.
Oh, yeah.
I would imagine they would probably have to offer some of the same, maybe at, either a higher price or lower price, because, money can be kind of hard to come by in Pyro.
Not unless you're doing bounties.
Yeah, not unless you're doing bounties. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. And yeah, you definitely have to take into account, like, if you only have, for instance, if you only have light fighters or a ship with a restricted quantum fuel tank, pyro is not really gonna be the system for you, because you have to take into account the distance between everything. Pyro is double the size of Stanton. And that's one thing for new players that they have got to pay attention to, is how far everything is.
Yeah, I don't think I can actually look up any distances here, but if I'm not mistaken, I think the furthest you're going to travel in the Stanton system, I think, is from Magnus to Everest, which is, I think, roughly 80 GM, which would be a little bit further. But like, if you're traveling from Bloom to Stanton, that's 60 or 70 GM right there, and that's one of the more common routes to travel. You're going from, what is this over here? I'm still learning where everything is.
So here,
The minimum jump that I've ever experienced on there is like 12 GM, and that's just going from like star something station to like a bounty close by. But I'm usually jumping 30 to 60 GM every time.
yeah. So I think this. Which one is it? This one, I got this picture up here. This actually compares the two systems in size. So actually, Pyro's almost triple the size of Stanton.
Jeez.
Yeah. Pyro is 17 AU versus Stanton being 5 AU. Like, all of Stanton fits into this little center.
In the first ring, it's like the bullseye almost.
Yeah. Like, it fits right there. You know, mind you got a bunch of planets close to the Pyro star. But yeah, on here they kind of got them all overlap. But yeah, I mean, you look at, what is this? Pyro right here. Yeah, you got everything kind of overlapping that's close, but then you got all these outer planets and whatnot. But it's very big difference.
Yeah.
And if you're a newer player and you only have small ships, take this into account, because you're going to run into issues getting places if you got a small ship. You're going to run out of fuel at some point.
Yeah.
And like,
You have to.
yeah, you got to be mindful of that, you know, when I'm trying to see if there's another map that kind of shows it. Like, I know you could go to, I think it's a star map. I don't remember. Oh, no, not this one. This is going to bork stuff up. Yeah, the star map on here is just.
Oh yeah, that thing's.
Like, okay, it's fine. Pyro. So yeah, scroll out. You look at the sheer size of Pyro. Yeah, that's kind of a like. There's your jump point, and that's how far you are from everything else. And then of course you look up Stanton. Like that just looks smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what your zoom level is for each one.
For what?
Your zoom level when you're looking at that, like how close you're zoomed in to see everything nice and neat, and then if like Pyro, how far out you have to back up.
Oh, so I'm all the way out here, and you can see how kind of neat this looks.
Yeah, I can easily read all the labels and see all the planets.
All right, and we'll go to Pyro. That's me zoomed all the way out in Pyro.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I'd say it's probably more like this. But still, I mean, even if I try to fit just the outer ring of Pyro in here, you're looking at.
Still got to zoom out quite a bit.
Yeah. Like I'll be happy when they actually put in some of these other jump points. But yeah, Pyro is just a massive system. And people just you just got to take that into account when you're picking it. You know, do you want to play with your friends more often? Do you want to do this? You want to do that? You know, sure. Go ahead, pick Pyro. Again,
one of the
I don't
things
know.
that Chrono had mentioned that as far as the org goes, we're usually over there like once, maybe twice a week. Otherwise, everything else we do in stands. So, I could see Org Night being taken over there, which would be a once a week thing, and then maybe a couple contested zones. I have a feeling that because of all of the activities that are going to go on in Pyro, contested zones are going to be a little bit more tricky to go do. Because you have more people sitting over there, whether they're trying to pirate grief or they're just trying to complete it.
Which is part of the
fun.
fun.
Yeah, it's part of the fun. I'm also more of a calm player myself, so I enjoy the quieter aspect of the game. I do enjoy the first person shooter bunkers and the contested zones. That's fun to me, but when you spend hours and just to get it wiped out and stolen by somebody else, it's just like
Oh yeah. I mean, just wait. When I started in Star Citizen, I was the same way. I was a laid back, I'm just going to have some fun. I'm going to go out and mine. And then I got into the PvP aspect of it. And I'm just like, ooh, this is fun. So that'll change. But I mean, I don't know. I'm torn on it. At the moment, I do not know.
I think I'm gonna stick Stanton. Heck, I might even no. I was about to say I might even pick Area 18 because it's right next to the Pyro jump point. And the more I think about it, the more I think about that location. I'm like, no. I don't like Lorville anymore. I don't know. I can't put my finger on any one thing. It's just a combination of things.
Yeah.
I want Microtech because it's convenient, but it's also way out there. So if I'm jumping from Microtech to the Pyro jump point, I'm going to have to wait 5 to 10 minutes for the jump to be completed. And then I have to make the jump over to Pyro. And then I'm going to have to jump another 5 minutes to wherever I'm going.
True.
I actually, honestly, I might go back to Orson. I might just, eat the flight time into Orson. I liked Seraphim Station. I do like doing VHRTs and ERTs and yellow.
Which there
I
are
think,
VHRTs and all that in Microtech. We
yeah,
just have to actually go
yeah,
through the certifications.
there are. I just enjoy the out in the asteroid part where you can, EV out to them. But who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe eventually, watch. We're doing a VHRT planet side. We shoot down a ship, and we can catch it midair with the ironclad by just like fly down underneath the ship, and you got one here that's floating slowly to the ground. And you just float underneath, and you scoop it up with the ironclad, take it up to the atmosphere. Just imagining so many things you could do with it.
Oh my God, I know. Like the possibilities with the ironclad are almost endless. And do I wish they would just release the ship? Yes, but at the same time, get it working good, get it polished to where there's no bugs with it. But just make it like I'm curious how that thing's going to be flying with the sticks. And hell, by the time that thing releases, you should have your sticks in.
Yeah, I get to order those. I actually got to get in touch with payroll to find out when I can actually submit my thing for that. But I think the 24th is when I'll be able to order them. I did order a control panel, so the control panel is going to be on its way eventually. But everything Virpil is back ordered, so
Oh God.
I'll order it, and then it'll probably be like 4 to 5 weeks before I even get shipping notifications for it. So probably not going to even get it till August.
When VKB announced that they were pausing orders because of the tariffs, like as a company, they don't realize just how badly they shot themselves in the foot. And then they come out and say, hey, on top of the tariff supply issue, we're going to hit you with a 45% upcharge.
That's messed up.
Like, really? Like, I mean, okay, I get the customs fee, but at the same time, it's like, you're just killing your customer base. Like, Virpil's made in the U.S. from what I've seen on it. I believe
I thought it was a German company.
No, VKB, I think. Is Virpil German? I thought they were U.S.
They have a U.S. base.
Oh, yeah, the official NA. Where are you?
Oh, it's based in Lithuania.
Okay. Yeah. But like just yeah. Like the one thing they did for themselves is this right here. Like fuck it, I'll go back to the other screen. This is where Virpil did the right thing. Customers based in the U.S. will not face any import charges or duties when ordering from Virpil USA, as all orders are dispatched domestically from our Tampa, Florida warehouse. They're eating the tariffs.
Yes. They're also. I don't know if Lithuania is necessarily one of the countries that gets hit by them, because
mainly China, I think, is the one that we're in a trade war with.
And VKB is headquartered in China.
Yeah.
So they do have a leg up there.
And their pricing is just crazy compared to, VKB. I mean, when I had the choice between the Solars and the VKB, I looked at both and I was just like, okay. I looked at all the reviews. The little reviews that there were for the Solar, but I looked at the reviews for the Virpil. I looked at the reviews for the VKB. Virpil is really pricey, but the VKBs were just, when I added everything together, including shipping, it was like $10 more expensive. which now
Wait,
it's
the VKBs?
yeah, the VKBs were $10 higher than the Solars.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I think right now, if I were to do the ready to fly, I'm on Verpal. Never mind. Yeah, you can get that. What was it VKB? I don't remember what it was.
That's the one right there. That Warbird bundle, the 2 Constellation Alpha Primes.
Yeah,
That's the one I'm gonna get.
they've kind of lowered their prices a little bit, but like okay, so because this was 130 at one point, so I think they're lowering their prices, but they're hitting you with the tariff. So if you go premium, okay, there it is. The premium, which has got the better hats and the better whatnot from VKB, is $123. So add that, continue shopping, go back, and then you want the turned one. That's
The
another 130. Yeah, the left hand. And then this is where, yeah, U.S. customers will be responsible for a 45% import fee, which is a 35% duty fee plus a 10% tariff. So that's $255. Now here's where it got crazy. I can't add any of this. Shipping. Let's just do.
I was gonna say, just make sure you don't fill in the credit card info or anything, because we are live.
Let's just do my old work address. That works. $62 in shipping plus a $23 in tax.
Nearly $100 in fees on top of that.
Yeah, and then add an additional 45% to 340. 340.78 times that by 0.45.
It's almost 50%. So
that's
you're gonna
another
add
$153.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's $500 just for those sticks now.
Yeah.
Like
That's insane.
I get there's a trade war. I get it, but you're expecting people to spend $500 when they could literally go, "Oh, hey, let's go with there's the Warbird." But, if I'm going to spend $500, you might as well so this is where it kind of gets a little crazy because you got to buy the bases, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you have to get the sticks and the bases separate. But if you look at that one package, the Warbird Hosas bundle, I mean, one complete stick setup with mounts and everything is going to run you around 500. So if you get that pair over there, you get it's 1160 plus tax for the 2, but you also get mounts.
Yes, you're getting a lot for the price difference here, and that's.
I will also say that's like mainly all metal construction, and that's one of the things that I am really looking forward to just feeling in my hands is the metal construction of those controls.
Honestly, I don't need the RGB. It may be behind me right now going off in the background, but I don't need it on my sticks. Like, I've got literally the Solars to red.
Yeah.
If you're going to give me RGB, let me choose between red, green, or blue. I don't need this vaporwave look,
Oh, when it comes to engineering those things, I think that's literally just an aesthetic. If you want to set it to all red or heck turn them off, I think you can.
Which, because honestly, I will say this: having the Solars, I have noticed, and like this is one of those things that is just crazy. Is I have literally like if I wanted to get the base, the Ava base for the Solars, I could. Here's the problem. It's $300 per base.
What makes that so special?
It's like the VKB ones.
Oh.
For the game. Wife's like, I thought you were talking Star Citizen. But yeah, I mean, but like, so what's funny is I've actually gotten, we'll go to the Solaris here quickly. I've actually gotten a lot of use out of these. Because like for me, my left-hand stick, this right here, I push it up, my landing gear comes up. Push it down, my landing gear comes down. You know, and then push this up, that's my hail ATC for landing. And then, now mind you, there's a bunch of buttons I don't use because I don't remember what the fuck they are. And some of them didn't transfer over, so I haven't just built them. But like, there's different, I've gotten so much use out of it. This is kind of useless. Like, this is for like the cross where your rounds will cross one another instead of being spread out, because you can't adjust that on your ships.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, the thruster thing, honestly, that shouldn't even be labeled thrusters, because if you're running dual sticks, which these are, you're never going to use this for thrusters.
Oh yeah, no.
That's going to be your left stick. So, was it worth the money? Sure. You know, I'm not going to complain about it. Does it feel a little on the cheaper side, you know, when it comes to aspect of certain functions? Like, do I feel like there's more play in the actual joystick? The right one for sure feels a little looser, and I've taken it apart. I've double checked it. I don't know what it is. The only thing I haven't done is gone into the actual meat and bones of the system and taken a look to see if something there might need to be tightened up, which, you know, probably does, because shipping, things banging around and whatnot, always gets a little loosened up.
Yeah.
Wow, we got off topic.
It's still Star Citizen based. I mean, we use stuff. We're gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, what is it? If coming to landing zones, we got plenty of options and whatnot. Will you stop going into? Stop it. Yep, still doing it. It's the problem with some of these auto trackings. Like, when you tend to talk with your hands, you'll activate it. Stop it. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of options. I guess we'll just have to see what the org's going to do, and yeah, I might do New Babbage again. I haven't had New Babbage as a spawn in a very long time.
It's the only one that I haven't. So remember how we were talking about bugs?
Bugs? Oh, that bug. That is still a thing. No, they fixed that. Fixed.
Store.
Kaboom. Gonna make a lie.
I feel like I shouldn't be standing this close. It went purple.
It's gonna make a liar out of me now. It's not gonna go boom. But no, I mean, again, 4.2's coming soon. I'm excited. Definitely got to get the wife to join us one night on Org Night to run around and play for science shit. Actually, you know what? That's what we'll do. When the Ironclad comes out, we're going to have her in her Nomad. I'm going to have her kill her engines to simulate a ship that's gone soft death. And we're going to try and catch her ship with the Ironclad. And then
Watch it explode on the roof.
You can't fly the ship for shit. Yeah?
We'll just scoop it up.
Words are hard for
Words
her
are
right now. But yeah, I mean, so she's not big in the PvP and all that, so I think she's more into the survival aspect of it, which, yeah, there is, eat, drink, make sure your space helmet's on when you leave certain planets. She says she don't want to. Like, I have a feeling when crafting and farming and all that, she's going to be our go-to, like, farmer.
Fuck yeah.
She just yelled, fuck yeah. Yeah. She's going to love building stuff. And then, of course, I'm going to sit there and go, we just wasted all these resources because our hab looks like this. Now I'm going to have to tear it all down, rebuild it. Like, I wonder how they're going to do that function. Like, if you accidentally build something wrong and you have to tear it down, are you going to lose half of your materials? Quarter of the materials?
I don't think you would. I think it would be a smaller portion. Like, if, say, for example, another game I play on Friday is Ranch Simulator. If you tear something down, you lose a part of it, but not the whole thing. So, I mean, the materials are all there. It's just you have to tear down part of it to, scrape away some of the things that were wrong, and then you put back what you can. And
yeah. I think one of these nights I know this is way off topic, but I think I'm gonna hop into Valheim one night. Just so the wife can play a game she wants to play, and I'll be in there with her because I like to go build happy.
I was always the bridge building guy in Valheim. We needed a bridge somewhere, I built it.
As she just said, I build, she scavenges, and she FAFOs in the process.
Yeah. Hey, it's a troll over here. Let's say hello.
Oh, all the time. Hey, babe. What? Run.
Yeah.
I do that all the time to her. I'll aggro a freaking Lox or a 2-star troll and just go, better run.
But wait, what happens then? Who becomes the target?
You.
Yeah.
That's the point. But, yeah, I think for, all right, well, Knight, why don't you give the people an idea of what we're going to talk about next episode, unless that's going to change?
The tentative discussion topics for next week will be some of the gameplay loops, and it might depend on whether 4.2 comes through by the end of the week or not. Otherwise, we can still talk about Hathor a little bit. We could talk about mining. We could talk about bounty missions and the loot pool, for example, because I am really curious to know why Quantanium wasn't part of the bounty loot pool this go around. I have a feeling part of it was because of Wicklow. Part of it was maybe because of Free Fly and Invictus. It's possible. I'm not saying that's the exact reason. We can talk about salvage, maintenance missions, the new maintenance missions out in Pyro. I've seen them pop up. I haven't done them at all. A couple of our org mates were saying that they're actually quite enjoyable. Foxwell missions. I'm trying to get ace helmets right now. I currently have 3. I need 27 more, and then I have enough. I actually need a few more script. I'm trying to get the script that I have turned over into favors so that I can try for an F8C Wicklow. And then there's going to be research missions, the whole 4.2 concept. I'm going to watch some more videos over the week to see what people have been experiencing with the PTO releases, because we have had reports of like PTU just not being very stable at all, and it was just kind of scary. So I think it's gotten better over the last couple days, but we shall see. But that's tentatively what we're going to be talking about next week.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to actually try and build up for maybe this weekend if I'm not out on the bike, depending on weather. Because I've been out on the bike the last, I was on the bike yesterday, got caught in the rain. Needless to say, I didn't need to take a shower and I got home. Mother Nature did that for me. I definitely want to go for the F8C because if I can't buy
Yeah.
it in game or, sorry, on the pledge store at the moment, I want to at least get it either via the executive hangar or Wicklow. So
Did I tell you what my first exec hangar ship was? Let me call it up and I'll show you.
when did you get
As
an
long as it
executive
doesn't-
hangar ship?
Last week I want to say I started doing CZs and a couple of the guys were like, "Hey, do you want to do one?" I'm like, no, scratch that. Sorry, reverse the order. I reached out to a couple of the guys that had done CZs before, and I'm like, "Hey, I've never done this before. Can you take me through it?" So Chrono and Tricky, they took me through the process before you get to the exec hang because I've never done the contested zones and I didn't understand like where are you. I'm gonna have to server flop anyway. I'm gonna have to jump servers because my ASOP, my hangar's all messed up. Anyway, all I've done is tag along with the executive hangar, so I knew people were showing up with these cards and putting them in places, but I never knew where they get the cards from. So they took me through that. They got all the cards from all the stations, and then a few days after that, we ran the executive hangar. And since it was my first one, I was like, "Hey, I'll take if it's a Corsair F8 or no, I was like F8 or F7, and like I want dibs, but if it's anything else, anybody can have it." I think Rex was in the channel. He's like, "If it's a Corsair, I really really want it," but he got stuck in jail. And we called it up, and it was a Corsair. So I have
The one I
there was a little
melted
bit,
for the Ironclad. No,
Yep, there was a little bit
I
of-
melted the cat for the Ironclad.
yeah, there was a bit of deliberation between everybody, and then some. I think it was Zorak. He's like, "Well, since this is Knight's first one, you should take it." So I was like, "Okay, I'm going to take it, just so somebody else doesn't come in here and murder us right now and steal it from us." So I called it up, and we got a bunch of parts and stuff. So I have an executive Corsair.
Nice. Yeah, I melted my Corsair, my MPUV tractor, and I think something else. And I got my Retaliator back with all the torpedo modules, and my Gladius, my Pirate Gladius is back. Because screw you, you can't get it in game.
Oh, you got your Gladius back?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I got the Gladius back, and then I melted my Pirate Caterpillar, which that was painstaking for the Ironclad. But to be fair, it's going to be worth it because I get triple the cargo space with the Ironclad. So the Caterpillar is more or less going to be useless.
I really seriously want to know if we can catch ships with that thing.
Well, we're going to
That'd be really cool if we it's some of those planet side missions where the ships ended up belly side up. Like just get under it and catch it and then take it out of ammo.
Depends on the ship. I don't think we're going to catch any Starfarer, but hey, you got a C2, so we can try catching a C2.
Yeah, might be able to catch a C2.
We ain't catching the Reclaimer. Forget about it.
No, screw it. If that thing's going to the ground, I'm not gonna go digging through that thing.
Nah, it's too much of a pain just to fucking loot it.
The only time that I would actually go into a reclaimer is if it had a buttload of Quantanium and medical supplies.
Yeah, same.
Actually, not even for this patch, not even medical supplies. It has to have a bunch of Quantanium. But back in 4.02 with supply or die, like if it had sufficient copper and corundum, yeah, I'll go in there and get it out.
Oh god, we were making
Now, like,
millions.
I wish I would have just mined so much more than I did.
Well, that, and then you sit back and you go, I just should have held on to all that money, knowing that 4.2 was right around the corner, or 4.1 and then 4.1.1 was right around the corner. It's just like, I should have sat on so much. But then again, I didn't really buy any ships in game. I think I bought a couple of the land mining vehicles because I went out and tried some land mining, which is fun. You know, it's different. And and some of those things are worth a lot of money, like Janelite. Like, give me that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I want to try some of the. I definitely want to do some of the mining out in Pyro. You know, so might buy a mole in game. Might, you know, at some
It's worth
point.
it.
Yeah, I might at some point just buy a mole outright. And just to fucking have it, you know, because when this game does hit 1.0, I plan on doing a lot in this game. Like, this is going to become my staple. My main focus is going to be this game. I mean, and I think it's going to be that way for a lot of us because we've already invested in joysticks and, you know, other stuff to be able to do whatnot. I do actually want to get into a couple of these other pilot games that, you know, that are out there that are more multiplayer focused. And
Well, you saw how much those Virpal sticks were. I had a last time my wife was down here. We sat down and I was like, look, I really like this game. I would like to turn my PC setup into like a sim, and I can use these for more than just this game. But like, I want to invest in these, and we had because we've got other financial commitments right now, especially with what we're going through with immigration, and because she's Canadian, we're trying to get her down here. And we've got, you know, legal fees to pay and everything. So it was one of those things where I can't just pull the trigger because, you know, that's $1,200 that can go towards, you know, getting her down here, and that's the main priority. But since I chose to do a PTO sellback, which is money that I'm not expecting anyway, and I usually do a PTO sellback like twice per year, once around my birthday and once around Christmas, just because and I've been with a company that I work for so long, I rack it up pretty quickly. So the investment part I completely understand, and I like this game so much that I could, if I could be a full-time Star Citizen streamer, I would. Like, you can keep the content different. You can jump from like, oh, okay, so if I was doing an 8-hour stream, like some of these people do for Call of Duty and Fortnite and whatnot. To break up the first 4 hours or first 2 hours, we're going to do bounties. The next 2 hours, we're going to do cargo. The next 2 hours, we're going to do salvage. The last 2 hours, we're going to, do bunkers or contested zones or whatever it might be. Literally, you have so many different versions of content in this game just by playing the different gameplay loops. It makes sense to invest in the game because there's so much to do. When 1.0 comes out, it'll be, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, so figured we'd show this off quickly here at the end. This is something that's kind of cool. So as some of you know, we mentioned that we kind of were hanging out in Pyro and having fun, and Knight got his Wicklow Polaris. I actually cannot believe this video just all of a sudden took off. Like, when I sent you that screenshot, it was at like 200 and some odd views. I'm up to 324. 5 likes. I actually got 2 dislikes. People actually disliked the video. I'm going, wow, really? But
Wasn't misclicks. Wait, actually, I probably know who those 2 are.
Right. But I figured we could kind of show you guys this. For those of you that might get a kick out of this, this was actually just a quick thing me and Knight did one night after he got his Polaris. We went out and did some aerial shots, and this is the shorter of the 2 videos. But I think it turned out pretty well, so I'm going to go ahead and play this, and I know Knight has seen it, but for those of you that are coming by and you're taking a look at the channel, you guys get to see this on Citizen Talk. So let's go ahead and roll this. I do love that paint job, by the way.
Me too. I'm never gonna change that. There's the other people that ask, like, hey, can you get different paint jobs? I'm like, yes. But this is a very special paint job that I would not touch.
Can I have your paint job? No. He's like, no, you may not have the paint job.
That's such an awesome shot.
I was so worried that a mountain was going to come up behind me. Now that was an awesome shot. I mean,
Yeah.
you show me a game where you can get that kind of fidelity. Oh. Plus that ship at night is beautiful.
All the exterior lighting. That's actually one of the big gripes that they have about the Idris is that there wasn't any exterior lighting, period.
Yeah. Please don't kill me, please don't kill me, please don't kill me, please don't kill me.
Okay. Asgard ladder. You know how you can change the interior lighting?
Yeah, what about it?
I wish you could do the same thing with the exterior.
Yeah.
Like you could change the lights different colors.
You're supposed to be able to turn them off.
Might need to do some shots inside next time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We can definitely figure that one out. I think we can figure that out. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap it up for tonight's or this week's episode of Epison. Am I tired? Yes. This week's episode of Citizen Talk. Not sure if we're doing a after dark this weekend. Maybe. Depends. Where we bring in org members to chit chat, BS with, and we just talk over what feelings about the game and where we think it's going and what we think is going to be coming in the near future. With that being said, I am Evil Tactics. You can catch me on Twitch at The Evil Tactics. And then you can also catch me on YouTube for more videos like that. Will be coming once I get a little better at flying. But I have messed with some of the curves, so it should be a lot smoother next go around. Plus, if I can actually use my Gladius, which is quicker and zippier, I can actually keep up with that damn thing and ammo. But yeah, thank you guys for coming by. As always, my friends, stay safe. We'll see you in the verse, and stay tactical. I'll see you in the next one. Night. Anything you want to add?
I think you summed it up pretty good. Mr. B Knight. I'll be on live Twitch in just a few minutes here. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 p.m. Wednesdays are going to be 8 p.m. now because of Citizen Talk. But yeah, Mr. B Knight, MRBKNGHT. See you on Twitch.
Yeah, go check out Knight. We'll be going over to him here next. You guys can see some actual gameplay footage. So, yeah, go say hey. Go say hi. Go stream snipe him. I'm kidding. Don't stream snipe him. But, yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for coming by. Until next time.